The glass doors of the office building shattered Emma's world with a single echoing slam. "You're done here, Harper. Pack your things and get out, before I call security." Mr. Vargas's voice, usually as smooth as the Rioja wines he bragged about at company retreats, now dripped with venom. His face twisted like he'd swallowed something rotten. Emma stood frozen in the conference room, her heart pounding against her ribs, the photo of her and her late mother, the only personal touch on her desk, clattering to the floor as her hands trembled. 10 years. A decade of late nights debugging software for this American expat firm in Galicia, western Spain, where the misty Atlantic coasts met the jagged cliffs of the Rías Baixas. She'd built their cybersecurity from scratch, turning a fledgling branch into a fortress against hackers. And for what? A leaked email chain, some bigoted whispers from the Madrid headquarters about family values, clashing with her weekend posts on Instagram. 2 women holding hands at a pride march in Santiago de Compostela. "We can't have this." Distraction. Vargas had spat, as if her love for another woman was a virus she'd coded into the system herself. Emma's throat burned as she shoved files into her battered leather satchel, the kind she'd bought on a whim during a solo hike along the Costa de Mort. Colleagues averted their eyes, murmuring sympathies that felt like slaps. She was 35, with the kind of quiet fire that had earned her quiet respect. Short brown hair cropped practical for coding marathons, green eyes that could spot a flaw in a firewall from across the room, freckles dusting her nose from too many sun-soaked weekends chasing waves. But now? She was just the lesbian they had to excise like a glitch in the Matrix. The elevator dinged on the ground floor. And there was Esme, perched behind the reception desk like a sentinel in this sterile lobby of polished marble, and faded posters touting innovation without borders. Esme Ruiz, 32, with olive skin glowing under the fluorescent lights, long black hair tied in a loose braid that always seemed on the verge of unraveling, and brown eyes that held the depth of the ancient Celtic ruins dotting Galicia's hills. She'd been the first friendly face when Emma arrived from Seattle a decade ago, fresh off a bad breakup and chasing the promise of a quieter life abroad. Esme's laugh had cut through the jet lag, her shared love for strong coffee and stronger stories forging an unlikely bond over stolen lunches in the break room. But today, Esme's smile was gone, replaced by a tightness around her mouth that made Emma's stomach twist. "Emma," she whispered, glancing over her shoulder as if Vargas might materialize from the shadows. I heard. God, I'm so sorry." Her voice cracked, fingers twisting the hem of her cardigan, the one with the embroidered seashells Emma had brought back from a beach trip they'd taken 2 summers ago. Just friends, or so Emma had told herself. "Don't," Emma muttered, forcing a brittle laugh that echoed hollowly. "Just another Tuesday in paradise." She adjusted her satchel, willing her legs to move toward the exit, toward the rental car parked crookedly under the olive trees outside. Rain pattered against the lobby windows, a typical Galician drizzle that blurred the world into grays. But Esme slid off her stool, her movements quick and deliberate, like she was defusing a bomb. "Wait." Esme's hand shot out, pressing a small, nondescript cardboard box into Emma's palm, taped shut, no bigger than a shoebox, with Emma's name scrawled in Esme's looping handwriting. It was light, almost weightless, but it landed like an anchor. "Take this. Don't open it here. Not until you're home." Emma's brow furrowed, suspicion flickering through the numbness. "What is this? Some going-away prank?" The words came out sharper than intended, laced with the betrayal still raw in her chest. Esme had access to everything: emails, schedules, the underbelly of office politics. Had she known? Had she seen the storm brewing and said nothing? Esme's eyes, those deep pools that had always seemed to see right through Emma's firewalls, brimmed with something unspoken, regret, maybe, or fear. "It's not a prank. It's everything." She leaned closer, her voice dropping to a whisper that carried the faint scent of jasmine from her lotion. "You deserve more than this place, Emma. More than hiding who you are. Just trust me. Drive safe. The roads are slick tonight." Emma clutched the box tighter, the cardboard warm against her chilled skin. Trust. The word tasted like ash after Vargas's dismissal. She nodded curtly, pushing through the doors into the rain-slicked evening. The coastal highway stretched before her, winding past eucalyptus groves that whispered secrets in the wind, toward her tiny stone cottage in the hills outside Vigo. Home. What was left of it now? The drive blurred into a haze of wipers slapping rhythm and radio static. Some American oldies station beaming in from a pirate broadcast, crooning about lost love and second chances. Emma's mind replayed the firing on loop. The way Vargas's assistant had accidentally forwarded that email, the HR rep's scripted apology over Zoom from New York, as if distance could sanitize discrimination. She'd fought for this job, left behind rainy Seattle for the sun-dappled promise of Spain, only to find the same old prejudices wrapped in a European accent. By the time she pulled into her driveway, gravel crunching under tires, the box sat on the passenger seat like a Pandora's package. The cottage lights flickered on automatically, a solar setup she'd installed herself during a blackout last winter. Inside, the space was a cozy chaos of bookshelves crammed with sci-fi novels and Galician poetry, a worn couch facing a window that framed the sea on clear days. Tonight, fog rolled in thick, swallowing the horizon. Emma kicked off her boots, poured a glass of Albarino from the fridge, crisp, local, a small rebellion against the knot in her gut. She sank onto the couch, the box in her lap. Her fingers hovered over the tape, heart thudding. What if it was evidence? A severance joke? Or worse, something that would drag her deeper into the mess? She ripped it open. Inside, nestled in tissue paper, was a leather-bound journal, its cover embossed with a faint wave pattern. Emma's breath caught. The first page. For Emma, who taught me that code isn't the only thing worth cracking. Esme's handwriting again, dated a year ago. Flipping further, entries unfolded like a hidden program. Notes from their coffee runs, sketches of Emma laughing at Esme's terrible impressions of Vargas, pressed flowers from that beach walk. But deeper in, the tone shifted. I see you, Emma. The way you light up when you talk about your mom, or how you stare at the sea like it's a puzzle you can solve. I want to be your safe harbor if you'd let me. But I'm scared. This place. It chews up dreams. Emma's eyes stung. Esme, in love with her? All those years of easy camaraderie, the inside jokes, the way Esme's hand would brush hers passing a mug. Had it been signals Emma's straight-laced brain had debugged as friendship? She traced a photo taped to a page. The two of them at the Festa de Arrabada in Bayona, recreating Columbus's arrival with ridiculous poses, arms linked, grins wide under paper crowns. But then a folded letter slipped out, crisp, official, from the company's legal department. Emma unfolded it with shaking hands. It was a draft of her termination notice, dated 2 weeks prior, with annotations in Esme's red pen, circled clauses about moral turpitude, question marks beside the discrimination loopholes. And at the bottom a sticky note. They think they can bury this. But I copied everything. For you. The rain hammered harder now. A symphony of fury matching the storm in Emma's chest. Betrayal? No, this was protection, fierce and unyielding. Esme hadn't just known. She'd been fighting in the shadows, gathering ammo while Emma slaved away oblivious. But why the secrecy? Why hand it over now like a grenade with the pin half pulled? Emma's phone buzzed on the coffee table. Vargas. She let it go to voicemail, his bluster about clean exits filling the silence. Instead, she scrolled to Esme's contact, thumb hovering. What do you say to the woman who's just upended your world twice in one night? Think you felt too small. Why didn't you tell me? Too accusatory. She typed. The box. Is more than I deserved. Coffee tomorrow? My place. We need to talk. The reply came instant. I'll be there. With creamers and the full story. Emma set the phone down, journal open on her chest, and for the first time since the conference room she breathed. The fog outside thin just enough to reveal stars pricking the sky, ancient and indifferent. Tomorrow answers. Maybe redemption. Or at least a crack in the code of her unraveling life. Dawn crept over the hills like a hesitant lover, painting Emma's cottage in soft pinks and golds that filtered through the salt-streaked windows. She hadn't slept much, tossing between journal pages and half-formed plans, the Albarino bottle now a lonely sentinel on the counter. By 8, the kitchen smelled of fresh espresso and sizzling chorizo, a Galician comfort she'd mastered to combat homesickness. Her hands moved on autopilot, chopping peppers for a tortilla, but her mind raced. Lawsuit? Whistleblower? Or just pack up and flee back to the States, tail between her legs? The knock came soft, almost apologetic. Emma wiped her hands on a dish towel and opened the door to Esme. arms laden with a canvas tote bulging with pastries from the local panaderia. Almond croissants dusted with sugar still warm. Esme's hair was loose today, waves framing her face like a Renaissance painting, her brown eyes shadowed with the weight of unspoken miles. She wore a simple linen shirt tucked into high-waisted jeans, the kind that hugged her curves without apology, a silver necklace glinting at her collarbone. A wave pendant Emma had admired once in a Vigo market. You cooked. Esme's brows lifted, a ghost of her usual teasing smile breaking through. After last night? You're tougher than you look, Harper. Emma stepped aside, gesturing her in. Tougher or just stubborn? Sit. Eat. Then talk. The words were clipped, but she softened them with a mug of coffee, extra crema just how Esme liked, frothy, indulgent. They settled at the scarred oak table by the window, the sea a distant shimmer beyond the eucalyptus. Esme unpacked the tote slowly as if buying time, her fingers lingering on a napkin. I didn't sleep either, she admitted, voice low. Kept replaying it. How I should have stormed in there with you, told Vargas to shove his values where the sun doesn't shine. Emma sipped her coffee, the bitterness grounding her. But you didn't. And that's okay. What I don't get is the box. The journal. Esme, it's beautiful. Terrifying. But the legal stuff. How long have you been playing corporate spy? Esme's laugh was short, sharp. A bark that dissolved into a sigh. She pulled a folder from the tote, thicker than the one in the box, stamped with faded confidential stamps. 6 months. It started small. I overheard the Madrid suits during a video call, talking about vetting lifestyles for promotions. Then I saw your file flagged. Red flagged like you were a security breach. Her eyes met Emma's, fierce now. You're the best damn coder they have. You built their whole Iberian network. And they were gonna toss you because of who you love? No. I started copying docs, cross-referencing emails. Found out it's not just you. 3 others last year, all queer, all let go for vague reasons. Emma's fork paused midair, yolk dripping from the tortilla. 3? Jesus. And you kept this from me? We could've filed together? Gone public? Esme shook her head, braid slipping over her shoulder. You were buried in work, Emma. That big contract with the Porto shipyards? You pulled 18-hour days. I didn't want to add to your load. Plus, she trailed off, tracing the table's grain with a nail. I was selfish. Scared you'd see me differently if you knew how deep I felt. The air thickened, charged like the moments before a coastal storm. Emma set her fork down, the clink loud in the quiet. Deep how, Esme? The journal. It's poetry. It's you seeing me when I couldn't see myself. But if it's pity or some savior complex. Pity. Esme's voice rose, cracking on the edges. She leaned forward, hands splaying on the table like anchors. Emma Harper, I've been in love with you since that stupid beach day. When you tripped over a rock and laughed it off like it was the punchline to the universe's best joke. You with your freckles and your firewalls and the way you hum old Nirvana tunes when you think no one's listening. It's not pity. It's terror. Of losing you before I even had you. The confession hung there, raw and unbuffered, like the Atlantic wind howling outside. Emma's pulse thrummed in her ears, memories cascading. Esme's hand steadying her during a vertigo spell on the cliffs, the shared blanket during a meteor shower last August, stars streaking like code errors across the sky. Had she been blind? Or just armored, after her ex in Seattle who couldn't handle the complications of Emma's ambition? Emma swallowed, words tangling. I don't know what to say. Last night gutted me, Esme. 10 years gone because I dared to post a photo with a woman I dated for 3 months. It feels like the world's rigged against us. Esme's hand crept across the table, tentative, until her fingers laced with Emma's warm, callous from years of typing visitor logs and folding paper cranes during slow shifts. It is rigged, but not unbreakable. Look. She slid the folder open, pages fanning like a deck of cards. Emails chaining executive slurs, financials showing padded severance to silence complaints, even a memo from New York HQ greenlighting cultural alignment, purges in overseas branches. This is ammo. With a lawyer in Vigo, there's a firm run by this fierce abogada named Sophia. Specializes in labor rights. We could sue for discrimination, wrongful termination. Make them pay publicly. Emma scanned the docs, her coder's eye spotting patterns. Timestamps aligning with board meetings, Keywords like discreet handling. It was solid, ironclad. But doubt crept in cold as the fog. And if we lose? They bury us deeper. Blacklist me from every tech firm in Europe. Then we fight dirtier. Esme's eyes sparked, that unyielding fire Emma had always admired from afar. Leak to the press. El País or that expat blog in Coruña. Or we walk away, start something new. You and me, a little consultancy on the coast. Ethical hacks for wineries and fishermen. The vision snagged Emma's breath. Mornings tangled in sheets that smelled of salt and jasmine. Afternoons debugging apps on a sun-warmed terrace. Evenings with Esme's head on her shoulder, reading poetry by lamplight. But reality intruded, Vargas's voicemail from last night, now joined by texts. Don't make this messy, Harper. We can talk references. Her phone buzzed again, insistent. Emma glanced, unknown number. She answered on speaker, curiosity overriding caution. A woman's voice, clipped with a Madrid accent. Senora Harper? This is Anna from HR International. We've reviewed your exit. There's an irregularity. Can you come in today? Discreetly. Esme's grip tightened. Trap, she mouthed. Maybe, Emma whispered, then louder. Irregularity? Like firing someone for their sexuality. Silence, then a hurried. Not over the phone. Noon. Please. The call ended. Emma stared at Esme, the tortilla cooling untouched. What if it's real? A way out clean. Or a way in deeper? Esme stood, pacing to the window, her silhouette etched against the sea. I can't lose you to them, Emma. Not now. Emma rose too, closing the distance until she could feel Esme's warmth, the faint tremor in her frame. You won't. She cupped Esme's cheek, thumb brushing a tear track, soft, instinctive. Their eyes locked, the world narrowing to this. Two women in a stone cottage, hands bridging years of almosts. Emma leaned in, lips brushing Esme's forehead. A promise more than a kiss. We go together. Face it head on. By 11 they were in Emma's car, the folder tucked in the glove box like contraband. The highway hummed beneath them, cliffs rising sheer on one side, ocean plunging on the other. Esme fiddled with the radio, landing on a folk tune, bagpipes wailing over guitar, a Galician lament that twisted Emma's heart. Remember the festival in Pontevedra? Esme asked, voice lighter now. You danced like no one was watching. Horribly, but with heart. Emma chuckled, the sound rusty but real. And you dragged me off the floor before I embarrassed us both. Never embarrassed. Just illuminated. The office loomed ahead, a glass monolith mocking the organic curves of the landscape. Emma parked in the shadows of the olive grove, killing the engine. Ready? Esme nodded, but her hand found Emma's again. Squeeze, release, a tether. For you? Always. Inside, the lobby felt smaller, air thick with the hum of printers and whispered calls. Anna waited by the elevators, mid-40s, sharp suit and sharper gaze, her heels clicking like accusations. Miss Harper. And Ms. Ruiz? Unexpected. She's with me, Emma said, chin lifted. No more hiding. Anna's lips thinned. Upstairs. Conference room 3. The ride was silent, tension coiling like a spring. Vargas was there, flanked by two suits from Madrid, pale, pinstriped, exuding boardroom frost. No HR platitudes this time. Anna launched in, voice clipped. We've uncovered discrepancies in your file, Ms. Harper. Fabricated performance notes. Seems someone tampered. Vargas shifted, eyes darting. Tampered? That's preposterous. Save it. Esme stepped forward, folder slapping the table like a gauntlet. We have the emails, the memos, all of it. The room erupted, denials, demands for lawyers, Vargas's face purpling like overripe grapes. But beneath the chaos, Emma caught Anna's flicker of something. Relief? Complicity? As security was called, Emma and Esme backed toward the door, documents clutched like shields. In the elevator descent, Esme sagged against the wall, exhaling. That was insane. Yeah. Emma pulled her close, foreheads touching, breath sinking. But we did it. The doors opened to freedom, rain-scented air rushing in. But as they stepped out, a shadow detached from the lobby corner. Vargas's assistant, the email leaker, phone in hand, smirking. Going somewhere, ladies? The betrayal hit like a rogue wave. The assistant's smirk was a blade, slicing through the triumph still buzzing in Emma's veins. Carla, mid-20s, with a pixie-cut dyed an aggressive platinum and eyes like chipped ice, blocked the exit, her phone screen glowing with what looked like a live feed. Boss says you don't leave with company property. Hand over the files, Ruiz. Or I hit send on this little video montage of your friendship, blowing up your references. Esme stiffened beside Emma, her warmth a bulwark against the chills slithering up Emma's spine. Video? The word conjured nightmares, stolen moments from office security cams, twisted into ammunition. You! Esme breathed, realization dawning. The leaked emails. It was you. Carla's laugh tinkled, false as costume jewelry. Bingo. Vargas promised a promotion. Head of ops in Barcelona. All I had to do was flag the risks. Your pride post was easy pickings, Harper. And Ruiz? Snooping like a bad spy novel? Pathetic. She waggled the phone, thumb hovering. One tap and every recruiter in Europe sees you two playing house. Emma's fists clenched, nails biting palms. 10 years of loyalty reduced to this, a petty power play in a lobby that suddenly felt like a cage. The rain outside had swelled to a downpour, thunder rumbling distant over the bay, mirroring the storm in her chest. Blackmail? That's your move? You're as slimy as they are. Survival, Carla shot back, stepping closer, her perfume cloying, something synthetic, overpowering. This town's full of expats like you, chasing dreams till reality bites. I grew up here, scraping by on tips while you Yanks waltz in with your tech salaries. Time someone leveled the field. Esme's voice cut through, steady as the cliffs. By ruining lives? Emma built this branch. I kept it running. You're not leveling. You're sinking the ship out of spite. Carla's facade cracked just a hair, eyes flicking to the elevators, where footsteps echoed now, security closing in. Last chance. Files. Now. Emma's mind whirred, algorithms firing. Escape routes, contingencies. The side door to the parking garage unlocked, per the fire marshal's last drill. But Carla's phone was the key. Neutralized that and they had breathing room. Fine, Emma said, voice pitched calm, raising the folder like a white flag. You win. She lunged, not at Carla but past her, shoulder checking the reception counter hard enough to topple a stack of visitor logs in a papery avalanche. Esme caught on instant, grabbing Emma's satchel and bolting for the side exit as Carla yelped, fumbling her phone amid the chaos. Stop them. The garage was a concrete echo chamber. Rain sluicing down grates overhead. Tires screeching as Emma's key fob chirped the car alive. They dove in, doors slamming, engine roaring to life. Carla burst through behind, phone raised, but Emma floored it. Gravel sprang as they peeled out onto the access road. In the rear view, flashing lights, security's ancient Peugeot. No match for Emma's souped-up hybrid. Left. Toward the coastal route. Esme shouted, twisting to watch the pursuit. Her face was pale but her eyes burned alive, electric. We can't go to the police yet. They'll say we stole Doc's. Emma nodded, hands white-knuckled on the wheel, the wipers battling sheets of rain. The road twisted sharp, hugging the cliffs where the Atlantic hurled itself against basalt walls, foam white as rage. My cottage, too obvious. Your place. Worse. Family's there, Vargas knows. Esme rummaged in the glove box, pulling the folder tight. Sophia, the lawyer. Her office in Vigo. 20 minutes if we push it. Thunder cracked overhead, lightning forking the sky, illuminating Esme's profile. Jaw set, lips parted in determination. Emma stole a glance, heart aching with the what-ifs piling up like storm debris. If they'd crossed this line sooner, acknowledged the spark, the pull, would they be running now? Or stronger for it? The Peugeot fell back at the first hairpin, outmaneuvered by Emma's familiarity with these roads, honed from solitary drives to clear her head. By Vigo's outskirts, the rain eased to a mist, streetlights haloing the port's cranes like skeletal guardians. Sophia's office was a narrow building wedged between a tapas bar and a bookshop, its sign faded. Abogada de Derechos Laborales. They burst in, soaked, dripping on the Persian rug, to find Sophia, a woman in her 50s, silver-streaked hair in a no-nonsense bun, glasses perched on a nose that had sniffed out injustice for decades, mid-conversation with a client. She dismissed him with a nod, ushering Emma and Esme into a back room cluttered with case files and a battered coffee machine. Talk, Sophia commanded, pouring thick espresso without asking. Her English was accented but precise, laced with the rolling RS of her Castilian roots. Words tumbled out, firing box folder chase. Sophia listened, scribbling notes on a legal pad, her pen a metronome of judgment. When Emma slid the documents across, Sophia's eyes narrowed, flipping pages with the efficiency of a surgeon. Merda! This is gold-clear violation of EU equality directives. Wrongful dismissal, harassment, conspiracy. But she tapped a memo, brow furrowing. Tampering evidence? Risky. And this assistant, Carla Mendez? She's connected. Uncle's a judge in Pontevedra. Esme leaned forward, elbows on knees. We have to fight. For Emma. For the others. Sophia studied them, gaze softening at their clasped hands, subtle but there. And for each other, no? I've seen enough to know when love's the real stake. She sighed, setting the pad down. I'll file an injunction tomorrow, freeze their assets, demand mediation. But tonight? Lay low. My sister's finca outside the city, olives and goats off-grid. Go there. I'll call when it's safe. Gratitude swelled in Emma's throat, too big for words. Thank you. We owe you. Sophia waved it off, scribbling an address. Pay it forward. Spain's changing but slow. People like you? You push the tide. The finca was a ramshackle haven, tucked in a valley where the rain surrendered to stars blanketing the sky. Sophia's sister, Marta, greeted them with hugs and stew simmering on a wood stove. Rabbit, rich with paprika and wild herbs. No questions, just a knowing smile and extra blankets. By midnight, ensconced in a guest room with walls of rough stone and a view of fireflies dancing in the orchard, Emma and Esme finally exhaled. They sat on the bed's edge, shoulders touching, the folder safely stashed under the mattress. Today was hell, Emma murmured, head tipping onto Esme's shoulder. But you're my glitch in the system. The best kind. Esme turned, fingers tilting Emma's chin up, their breaths mingling in the lamplight. And you're my constant variable. Steady even in chaos. Her lips brushed Emma's, tentative then sure. A seal on promises unspoken. The kiss deepened, soft explorations of relief and longing, hands mapping familiar contours with new intent. No rush, no fire. Just the quiet unraveling of guards, bodies aligning like code, finding harmony. After, tangled in sheets that smelled of lavender from the fields, Esme traced Emma's freckles like constellations. What now? If we win? We build, Emma whispered, voice husky. A life. Here or wherever the road takes us. No more hiding. Dawn brought Sophia's call. Injunction filed, Vargas scrambling. But as they drove back to Vigo for a strategy meeting, Emma's phone lit with a block text. You think this ends? We know where you sleep. See. The betrayal deepened, Carla wasn't done. And neither, Emma realized, was the fight. The text burned in Emma's pocket like a live wire. A reminder that victory was a fragile algorithm, prone to crashes. Sophia's office became command central that afternoon, whiteboard scrawled with timelines, coffee rings staining depositions, the air thick with printer ink and resolve. Sophia paced, phone glued to her ear, barking at a contact in the labor ministry while Esme cross-referenced emails on a borrowed laptop. Emma, ever the coder, mapped digital trails. Carla's socials, laced with subtle boasts of climbing ladders, IP logs hinting at off-hours access to company servers. She's sloppy, Emma said, highlighting a timestamp. Logged in from a cafe in Bayona last week. Uploading what looks like your personnel file, Esme. We can prove she initiated the leak. Sophia nodded, ending her call with a triumphant Hecho. Done. Good. Mediation set for Friday in Santiago. Vargas wants quiet. We'll leverage that. But Carla? She's the wild card. If she goes rogue. Esme's fingers stilled on the keys, her face paling. My family. The finca's address. It's public record. If she. Go. Sophia cut in, already dialing. Check on them. I'll handle the warrants for her devices. The drive to the finca was a blur of coastal fog and frayed nerves. Emma's hybrid eating miles as Esme clutched her phone, refreshing Marta's texts. Nothing yet, she murmured, but her voice trembled, the earlier kisses' glow dimmed by dread. Emma reached over, squeezing her thigh, grounding, possessive. We're ending this. Today. Marta met them at the gate, her wiry frame silhouetted against the olive groves, a shotgun propped casual against the fence post. Not loaded, Emma hoped, but the message clear. Trouble? Marta asked, eyes sharp as her sister's. Worse, Esme admitted, hugging her tight. The house was quiet, goats bleating in the distance, but inside the stew pot still steamed from lunch. No signs of intrusion, no kicked doors, no shattered windows. Relief washed over them, brief as a sunbreak. Then Marta's landline rang, shrill in the hush. She answered in rapid Galician, face hardening. For you, Emma. Some woman says it's urgent. Emma took the receiver, heart slamming. Carla's voice slithered through. Harper. Cute hideout. Love the rustic vibe. But let's chat. That pull-off by the lighthouse, Praia America. 30 minutes. Come alone, or your girlfriend's sister gets a midnight visitor. Click. Emma's blood iced. How does she? Track the car. Esme guessed, already grabbing keys. GPS in the hybrid, company fleet perk, remember? They piled into Marta's battered Renault instead. Engine coughing to life as thunder grumbled anew. The lighthouse road wound perilous. Cliffs plummeting to surf that roared like accusations. Emma gripped the wheel, Esme beside her. Marta's shotgun now very much in play across the back seat. Alone, Emma echoed, but Esme's glare brooked no argument. Together. Or nothing. Praia America was a ghost beach at dusk. Windswept sands fringed by pines, the lighthouse beam sweeping like a judgmental eye. Carla waited by a driftwood bonfire, flames crackling defiance against the gathering dark, her platinum hair haloed in orange. No phone this time. A tablet propped on a rock, screen flickering with paused video, grainy footage of Emma and Esme at the finca, kissing in the doorway. You brought backup, Carla sneered as they approached, arms crossed over her coat. The wind whipped her words, carrying salt spray. Predictable. And you brought blackmail, Emma countered, stopping 10 feet out, Esme a solid presence at her side. What's the play? Delete the files and you walk. Carla's laugh was bitter, eyes glassy, defiant but edged with desperation. Walk? After you two waltzed in with your little dossier, turning my promotion to ash? No. I want out, severance like yours plus a letter singing my praises. And you? She jabbed a finger at Esme. Resign quietly. No lawsuits. Esme stepped forward, voice steel. Why? Jealousy? Or just scared we'll expose what you did to those other three? Carla flinched, the firelight catching tears. She blinked away. Scared? Try surviving. Dad died last year, debts piling up. Vargas dangled Barcelona like a lifeline. I did what I had to. Her voice cracked, the villain's mask slipping to reveal a woman frayed at the edges. Much like them. You don't get it. You have each other. Dreams. I have. This. The confession hung, humanizing the monster. Emma's anger ebbed, replaced by a weary empathy. The kind forged in boardrooms and breakups, where ambition clashed with conscience. We all claw for lifelines, she said softly. But ruining lives? That's not survival. It's surrender. Carla's shoulders slumped, the tablet's glow dimming as battery waned. Sirens wailed faint in the distance, Sophia's warrants closing the net. What now? Arrest? Humiliation. Esme glanced at Emma, a silent query. Forgive? Fight? Then extending a hand, not in threat but olive branch. Testify. Against Vargas. The suits. Make it right. Sophia can cut you a deal, community service, maybe a reference from her network. Better than prison. Carla stared at the hand, wind tousling her hair, fire popping embers into the night. Seconds stretched. Then she grasped it, tentative, trembling. Yeah. God, what have I done? The police arrived, gentle, cuffs loose, statements taken under the lighthouse's watchful beam. Carla spilled it all: Vargas's orders, the email chain's genesis, the fear that fueled her fury. By midnight, she was en route to Vigo, a plea bargain sketched on Sophia's notepad. Back at the cottage, Emma's sanctuary reclaimed, they collapsed onto the couch, exhaustion a heavy blanket. The journal lay open on the table, a talisman. It's over, Esme whispered, head on Emma's lap, fingers toying with a freckle on her knee. Not over, Emma corrected, stroking that long black hair, waves like the sea beyond. Just the debug phase. Mediation Friday we win settle big. Scholarships for those other 3 maybe. A fund for queer expats. Esme tilted up, brown eyes luminous. And us. Emma smiled, the first real one in days, crooked, freckled, full. Us? We code our own story. Breakfasts here, hikes on the Costa de Mort, a little firm by the water. You, me, and whatever glitches come. The kiss that followed was a vow deep, unhurried, tasting of salt and second chances. Outside, the storm broke, rain yielding to stars, the Atlantic sighing approval. Months later, the settlement came. 7 figures, headlines in El País decrying corporate purge in Galicia. Emma and Esme's consultancy bloomed in a converted lighthouse keeper's cottage. Ethical edge, hacking for good, clients from sustainable fisheries to indie winemakers. Carla, true to her word, testified clean. Last Emma heard, she was apprenticing at a Vigo nonprofit, rebuilding what she'd broken. On a cliffside at sunset, waves crashing below, Emma slipped a ring onto Esme's finger. Simple platinum, engraved with a wave and a line of code. If love, then forever. No grand gestures, just them, 35 and 32, freckles and olive skin. Green eyes meeting brown in a world finally debugging itself. In the end, it wasn't the box that changed Emma's life. It was the woman who'd packed it. Fierce, flawed, and utterly beautifully real. And in each other's arms against the wild heart of Western Spain, they wrote the rest. A love story, unapologetic, unbroken.